In my video, Democrat-controlled media and government, I ended that up talking about how you can be a 501c3 and you can still talk about politics and pro-life issues as boldly as you want to. I misspoke at the end of that video, saying that you could still be a 501c3 and a nonprofit. But I think those of you who watched it and know anything about this, you knew what I was talking about anyway. But the point is, so many people think that if you're a 501c3, if you're a nonprofit organization, that you can't talk about political issues and you can't talk about pro-life issues. And that was one of the arguments, the fights that I got in with the IRS. You know, they were saying, no, it's completely forbidden, you're not allowed to. But if you look at the actual agreement of becoming a 501c3, you're not saying that you're not going to talk about it at all. You're saying that you're not going to make it your primary purpose. So you can still do whatever it is you do for your organization, but you can stand up and you can speak out against people. Like, for instance, let's say there's a pro-abortion candidate. Well, you want to denounce that pro-abortion candidate. You want to say any politician who supports abortion is a baby killer. Okay, a little bit extreme, but it's not extreme compared to what they're doing to the babies. I mean, they're ripping them out of the womb. So you want to be able to say that. You want to be able to tell the truth about what's going on. You don't need to be afraid. And a lot of churches now are starting to recognize this. A lot of churches are starting to speak out. Even if the IRS challenges you, you know, you can go to the Thomas More Law Society and talk to Tom Brecka. And, you know, nowadays we have protection. For many years, we didn't have organizations, we didn't have attorneys that would help bail us out of situations where Democrats illegally stop us from functioning. And definitely understand, Democrats own the United States government, almost every single part of it. So we need to challenge them, and especially the IRS, of course, when the IRS is doing their thing. So speak up about these issues. For any of you who are pastors out there, and you might be afraid to talk about the pro-life issues, you might be afraid to talk about morality and the decency of politicians and government, kick that fear away. God doesn't want you to be afraid. God wants you to speak out. We need to stand up for righteousness. We need to confront people who are tearing down the fabric of America. You know, so many things that we see happening, I mean, literally tearing down. The George Washington Monument was not the one in D.C., but one of the statues was torn down last week. And there's so many things like that happening. It's insane. We need to get involved. And so speaking up, and there's no doubt in my mind, the biggest issue we're talking about when dealing with this right now in America is Christianity. Christians are the ones who are going to affect this change in this country. And Christians need to demand that their pastors, and I don't mean ask, they need to demand that their pastors get involved, that they speak out, that they encourage their parishioners to get involved. And, you know, there is no standing by on this anymore. There is no being silent on this anymore. I think what I've been working on slowly is the 21st Century Great Awakening. And I believe that that's what we're heading for, that we're heading for a 21st Century Great Awakening. And this awakening, this silent majority that's been asleep for so long, and there's no other way to describe it. The silent majority has been asleep, and the Democrats have taken over this country, so that's already done. So what do? Now that the Democrats have taken over America, okay, Trump may win one more election, but come on, this country's gone. They've made sure that there's so many Democrat voting people in all of the states that there's nothing that we can do. They brought in, tens and millions of of Democrat voting immigrants, and that's that. So what do we do? So that's what I'm talking about with the 21st Century Great Awakening. Let's figure out what it is that we can do. And one of the things that I've been talking about is perhaps the reality of breaking away and finding states like South Dakota where, people are strong patriots. You have strong governors and going there and basically laying claim to conservative states, whichever ones are left, that won't be taken over by Democrats in the near future, which I don't. There's not many left. Maybe a half a dozen or so. So we got to figure that out. Figure out what it is, and we got to look around for organizations that are working on this, and let's do that. Let's figure out a solution. If this idea of taking over these states is a stupid idea, well, okay. Well, then suggest something. Somebody do something. We need leaders right now. We need someone to stand up and yell charge, because we need to charge. We've got to get involved. We've got to stand up for the babies. We're already at 70 million dead babies in the United States. That's not too good, if you ask me. And now they're coming for us. So, for the Democrats, as far as they're concerned, it's great. Everything's looking good. Even if they're freaking out about President Trump, the future is looking good for them, because they know that they've taken over the Electoral College in almost every single state in the United States. So let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. Let's make a plan. Let's stand up. I think I'm too old to yell charge and really make something happen. I'm praying that there's somebody out there, some young George Washington, that'll stand up and yell charge. And let's do it. Let's stand up for decency and righteousness in this country. It's up to us. If we don't do it, who's going to do it? Peter Shin, Pro-Life Unity. You can go to petershin.com. That connects to all the other websites, Pro-Life Unity, Cherish Life Ministries, everything else. Of course, you see my daily posts that I do there. And, there's plenty of videos. I have over 500 videos interviewing leadership from Christians, political leaders, pro-life leaders, and so on. So go to petershin.com, learn more about me there, and you can connect with me on all the other LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, and everything else. So appreciate you watching this video. Please subscribe and pass it on and like it, and God bless you.